rust off, I guess, after like a 10-day pause.
Well, we talked about it last night, after meetings about spring break's over, come back and let's get better. Let's get better. So we started yesterday just trying to get better. So I thought today that we got better today.
Omar was over there talking with us. I mean, I know it's pretty early in the process, but what has he been doing? What do you want to see next from him as he develops this offseason?
He needs to be more consistent. I know he's going to catch the ball, but I got to make sure he's going to align right, make sure he's going to run the right route. I know he's going to catch the ball. I know he's going to get in there and catch the ball. Just being more consistent in alignment and the route running, and that comes. That we'll detail that more. That's more on me than him.
What's been the sort of the evolving chemistry between the QBs and the receivers? If you like where you're at, the pace you're on there.
Well, to be honest with you, no, because we have a lot of arms right now. We're catching from a lot of arms. We're catching from probably 6 different quarterbacks. So it kind of gets confusing because they all throw different type of balls. So they got to try to get balls with the quarterback that they kind of screwed that route up from. They got to try to get the route from that quarterback. So it's always a different quarterback every day. So once this thing settled down and we settle into one quarterback, it'll get better for us. But right now, it's going to be some drops. It's going to be some mishaps because of the timing.
So I don't know. Is Isaiah full go for you yet, or is he kind of working his way back, or what's his situation?
He's working his way back. He's not full to go yet.
Hey, Mickey, you guys have had a few on-campus recruiting events, guys coming in for practice. What's the benefit to being able to have those guys come in and see you guys during spring ball?
Well, I think the more you can get them to campus and the more they can feel comfortable coming here, I think the better chance of you getting that kid. I think with my history of kids, you get them to campus, you can get them. If a kid say, hey, I like Nebraska, but he never visits, then I don't think you have a chance of getting him. So when they come to campus, that means they're serious, and that means we're serious about them also.
What have you seen from Alontae Brown so far this spring?
Excuse me?
What have you seen from Alontae Brown so far this spring?
Alontae Brown. Oh, Tay's doing a really good job. I mean, he gets better every day, but he's a kid that comes to work every day. He comes to get it done, and I mean, he's probably the most improved guy since the start of this process when I came in that I've seen so far. I think Tay's the most improved guy.
What are some of those things that he is doing differently?
Well, right now, he played quarterback in high school, so his routes are a lot better. His hands are really good to say he was a quarterback. But I think like I said, just the detailing of the routes, because we always say if we paint a pretty picture, the route can be completed. If we is a bad picture, then the route won't be completed. But I think Tay's doing a really good job of that. To say that he's being a quarterback, it's not an easy transition from quarterback to receiver.
Omar was just talking. I mentioned Brody Bell making some plays out there. You mentioned him before in the past. What are the things that he's been doing to kind of make a good impression so far this spring?
Brody's a football player. Brody's probably the best football player on this team. When you overall you talk about football player, I think he's a football player. He's smart. He's got high football IQ. I think he can move. He can play Z. He can play R. He can play running back. He can do a lot of things. He can play special teams. So he brings a lot to the table. And I think we're excited to have Brody on our team. So I think the sky's the limit for Brody.
Guys like Amante, Latrell, Shaw, who are kind of their second year. What's the next step for them? Are you seeing anything from any of those kind of that younger crowd that you like?
They got to continue to improve, and I'm going to put pressure on them. Because I spoke to all of them about they're playing for roster spots. It's not the old days where you're just going to sit here for 3 years and not play. You're playing for roster spots. You're going to get it done, or you're going to get it done somewhere else. Because we're not going to sit back and just try to help you develop and you're not continue to develop. If you don't want to develop, then I don't know if you're going to be able to play for me.
Hey, Mickey, last time we talked to you was just after one practice. Now that you've been out there for 7, wearing that sweatshirt, wearing that hat, what kind of old feelings has it evoked in you that were maybe dormant for a while, just to walk around this place?
My mom asked me that question. How did it feel? That's a good question. You know what? You got to embrace it. Even when I was away from Nebraska, I'm always going to love Nebraska. And I'm happy to be here. But at the end of the day, I understand there's a business. And the business is to win. And I understand that. They're not going to keep me here because I played at Nebraska. They're going to keep me here because I can win. But listen, I'm loving it. I'm loving being back, reuniting with a lot of old friends. But I think, I like the way things are right now.
How strong through the years did that passion remain for you?
For Nebraska? Oh no, I mean, once you graduate from here and you play here, you're always going to root for Nebraska. So it's going to stay strong in your heart. So like I said, it was easy to come back, but it was easy to come back, but it's strong in your heart though.
So that considered, some of the difficulties that Nebraska's had in recent years. What was it like for you to watch that?
Well, when you watch it, you'll see that the kids were playing hard. One or two plays away, and that's the game of football. They just came up short. They came up short a lot. They played hard. So my big thing is, let's get some talent. Let's get some more talent in the building because the kids are playing hard. Get some more depth. And sometimes you got to see where you win and lose games at. So I think that when you look at it, you say, okay, we need to get more depth. We need to get more players in here. But like I said, but if you look at the games, they play hard. You see how we practice. They practice hard. So they're giving everything that they have.
Casey Thompson mentioned when he was kind of deciding what to do, you were in at least his dad's ear about, "Hey, come on over here." Can
Yeah.
you talk about your relationship with Charles?
Or CT, yeah. I met CT on my recruiting visit to Oklahoma. He was already there. He was redshirting that year, and that's when I met CT, probably 1986, and we've just been friends ever since. And when it was time for Casey to come here, he reached out to me and we talked, and I thought this would be a good fit for Casey. I thought Casey had some trust issues at the last school he was at. And I thought if he came here, he wouldn't have to have those trust issues, that he was going to trust the process. He could trust what Coach Frost was doing, trust Whipple, and trust myself.
He's in a tough spot because he's new, but he's in that QB leadership position. Have you seen him kind of work his way into being a leader already?
Well, you hate to say this, but this is the way the NCAA's got it right now. With this transfer portal, you got to treat this like free agency. So Casey's no different than Ryan or Deshaun Watson going into the new camp. You're the guy. You're getting here, but you're the guy. This college football landscape has changed. This is considered, with the transfer portal, this is considered to me free agency. And I mean, that's the way you got to play the game. If you don't play the game like that, you're not going to catch up to those schools that's already out in front of it.
How is it to your position group when you have a guy like Casey who's wanting to throw with guys after practice and can go kind of above and beyond?
Well, I'm used to that. I'm used to the quarterback waiting on my guys, to clean up routes, because that means he understands that that's what he has to do to get better. That's what he has to do to get that receiver better. So we appreciate Casey doing that. Yeah, Joe did that all the time. Joe did it all the time, and I think Casey has the same leadership qualities, because Joe was always waiting, and he was always changing routes up also. And Casey does that too.
You mentioned the college football landscape changing, and it's happening pretty quickly. How easy or not has it been for you to kind of accept all of that happening?
Well, I'm easy. I go with change. I'm not the one. If you want to change, let's change. Because if you sit back and you don't change, you're going to be left behind. You can't fight something that's already in place. It's already in place, so why fight it? Why say I hate it? I don't like it. Okay, if you don't like it, you got to get out of college football. The transfer portal is like free agency right now, and it's gonna. I'm not saying it's gonna hurt high school kids, but you're gonna take that 22-year-old before you take that 17-year-old. You're gonna take a kid